Hi everybody, it's Nicole O'Connor here. I am going to take you through a little tutorial, a little mini bite-sized section all about how you can use the iPad for reading. And I am quite passionate about making the iPad as accessible for learners. So a lot of these tools that I'm showing you today are built into the iPad. I'm not going to go deeply into all the different reading apps and things that are out there because there's loads and you can just choose what fits best for you and what works for your school. Because there's things such as Oxford Owl have loaded their books online, which is great. Accelerated Reader, of course. There's Reading Eggs, and there's Epic, which is one that we've just started using in our school for a year group or two. Children can choose a book much the same as all these other ones, and they can read it. If they don't know a word, they can hold down on it and it'll pronounce it for them. It'll give them a definition of it.
Believe.
So there's loads of accessible material out there for you to go and explore, but I'm going to show you today how you can use the iPad to bring reading to all learners. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our settings. A lot of these features are hidden into the settings, and you're going to need to go scroll on down the side here and go to accessibility. In the accessibility options, we have loads for vision, loads for physical and motor, loads for hearing, and then some general ones. So you probably guess that we're going to be spending most of our time in vision here for reading. But I'm going to show you first. I have this little assistive touch in the corner. I'll use this sometimes throughout these little mini modules as such, and I'm just going to show you where you can access this and how you can turn it on. So it's in touch. You go into the physical and motor tab, you go into touch, and then you go into assistive touch and turn it on. So if I turn it off, you see it disappears on me. I can turn it back on and bring it back. And you can customize it so you can have certain things in there. So for example, I have quite a bulky case on my iPad to protect it, so it's quite tricky for me to screenshot. So I use this as my way to screenshot everything. So you can go through and customize it. You can have more than 5 icons, you can have less, you can just change these about if you want, or you can reset to default. I'm not going to mess with this though, because I'm pretty happy with how I have my my custom assistive touch button. There's loads of stuff in here for gestures. You can see you can do things about the sensitivity, like do you want it to be a bit slower the way it reacts to you or faster. Loads of really high-tech things that are automatically built into your iPad, which I just think is brilliant. But turn on your assistive touch if you're wanting to do this alongside with me. So now we can go back out of here and we're going to have a look at some of the vision accessibility features that your iPad has. The first one we're going to look at is speak screen. So you can go in, you can see we've got voiceover, zoom, magnifier, display size. This is a pretty good one if you want to make the font bigger for your learners. But I'm going to go into spoken content and I'm going to show you speak screen. So I already have it turned on, but you might have it turned off by default. And you'll see I have some other things turned on, but we'll go through speak screen first. So swipe down with 2 fingers from the top of the screen to hear the content of the screen. So quite often the reason some people go, oh, it's not working, is because they're actually swiping down from the middle of the screen, or you need to make sure you're going right from the top with 2 fingers. And I'll show you how this works in, let's say, like in a Newsround article that I have loaded before. And if I swipe down my 2 fingers from the top,
Homepage. Accessibility links. Skip to content.
So it starts speaking everything. So it tells me what this is. So I can skip the content and it will start reading literally everything from the top. And I don't want it to do that. So what I'm going to ask is that I'm going to click this little pointer. I want it to read what I point and click on.
NASA's Perseverance. Amazing new images shared from Mars. 1.
So it will only read this one sentence at a time if you click it that way. You can just hold down, as I said, when you swipe down from the top.
Accessibility links.
I could just skip forward until I get to the article and just let it read the whole article.
The 20th of February. Last updated at 8:24 comments. View comments. Rover, NASA JPL Cooltech, Perseverance captured from its rocket cradle just before landing. NASA has released amazing new images sent back from Mars after the landing of its Perseverance rover. The first shows the robot heading down to the ground on Thursday to make its landing in a deep crater near the planet's equator called Jezero. It was captured by the rocket cradle that safely lowered the rover down to the...
So there's different options you can choose there. It's a pretty good feature, but there's ways that you can make it even better. So I'm going to go back now, I'm just going to X out of this, and I'm going to go back now to my settings and explore what else I have there. Because whilst it's great to speak the screen, maybe I only wanted to speak a little bit of the section. So maybe perhaps a word that I don't know. So you will turn on this option. So a speak button will appear when you select text. So let's see that in action. I could go into Apple Books. So Apple Books is fantastic. It has a lot of free books. So for example, if you are just on the homepage at the moment, you can download a lot of books that are free for a limited time. So I would tend to just go in and download a few. I may not read them all at once or use them with my kids at once, but especially if I'm logged on to the school iTunes account, then that means it's there for every child's iPad in our school. So it's a pretty handy way to get digital books for free, and there's even some read alouds as well, which is brilliant. So for example, there an Oliver Jeffers book is being read aloud to the children. So when you click into it, and say I want to read this book, in the top when you saw there that it kind of went to a black screen around it, but if you tap out of that, you can click here to listen to the read aloud by Paul McGann in this case. And I wanted to start reading.
Once there was a boy, and one day he found a penguin at his door.
So that's brilliant that some books have that, but not all of them do. So if you're in a different book, such as this one, that doesn't have a read aloud at the top, you can see there's nothing there. You can still highlight the text, and you can see I've now got a speak option, so it will speak this word, or I can drag this blue dot over the whole sentence and it could read the whole sentence to me. That's because I'm using this mouse, it's a little tricky for me to grab it. Okay, I'll just go to here. Speak.
Ravi was the youngest.
So that is particularly brilliant for those children who maybe are very capable at reading, but they're just like, actually, what's this word? Not quite sure how to pronounce that one, so I'm just going to highlight it and hear it.
Squash.
Okay, it's squash. They could look up the definition of it and it would come up here. So they could see parts of speech as well, all within the book, and that they can do that on the website as well. So if I go back to that NASA article, which we know is probably going to have a lot of big words in it, that could be quite tricky. A child could highlight the word equator. They could get it to speak.
Equator.
And they could get it to be looked up. So, and then of course you can go into other articles that would have that word, or some Siri knowledge if they wanted to learn more about what it means. So that's sort of my two favourite speaking options for the iPad. But again, we can make it even better. So I'm going to go back into the settings, and whilst I'm pretty happy with how the speaking selection is going and the speak screen is going, I actually find it's really good for my children if the words could be highlighted. So you're going to turn on highlight content, which means it's going to display a cursor around the selected item during speak on touch. Highlight text according to the following settings for speak selection and speak screen. So I might want it to highlight the words and sentences. Do I want it to be underlined? Do I want a background colour? You can personalise these for the children. A lot of children tend to put their finger on words underneath, so maybe underline is preferred, or background colour might just bring it more to their attention where they're at. And you can then, you see word colour and sentence colour. You can personalise that for children, and I'm going to go into a little bit more about reading overlays, because sometimes pupils in our classes use reading rulers and acetate paper and things like that to make the white glare of paper and the screen a little bit easier on their eyes. So let's see what that looks like in action. I'm going to go back to my NASA article, and I'm going to highlight this, let's say this bit here, this whole sentence, and I'm going to speak it.
You can see the mechanical bridles that hold the rover underneath the descent stage.
So there we go. So that's just made it even more accessible, which is just super powerful, and I love it. I have it turned off from my own iPad usually most of the time, but you can see how you could change it there, and you could personalize it for children, so you can give their whole sentence a colour, change the words and things like that. So really handy tool for reading. Another one that's great is in the display and text size. This may not come up whilst I'm screen recording, but you can follow along with me and you'll see it. You have loads of features here that you can just go in and explore to make the iPad itself more accessible with larger text, and so on and so forth. But if you go down to colour filters, you can, and again I'm not sure if this will come up on your screen, but you'll see that there's different coloured pencils up here, and you can drag the little option here. You probably need to turn on your colour filters first, guys. But you can see right now I'm in brown. I could scroll down to pink, down to blue, down to green, and right down to red. So sometimes I find most people tend to have like an orangey acetate or a reading ruler. And you can turn up the intensity of how orange you want your screen to be. Whoa, that's pretty orange. Or how, like, not orange, how much you don't want to have a filter over it. And again, for different types of colour blindness, you have options that are pre-made there and populated for you. So loads of really slick accessibility features for you there, guys. So have a little go at those, explore them, see how it brings reading to life for your children, and let me know how you get on. The next session will be on using the iPad for writing, and again we're going to take a wee deep dive into some of those accessibility features. So thanks for listening. Bye.